This is a special edition of Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. We're going to spend some time with Michael T. Murray, Dr. Murray, and you can find him at drmurray.com. His URL website is on our screen right now. We're going to talk about COVID-19. We're going to get Dr. Murray's impressions on what's going on, what has happened, what is happening now, and what will happen in the very near future. Dr. Mike, welcome to Late Night Health. It's been a long time, and I'm not wearing the silly hat I was wearing the last time we talked.
Mark, good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you as well. Has COVID-19 been handled properly, not only in the United States, but worldwide?
No. And I think the message that I want to get across is that I think this time is going to end up possibly being a great gift, because I think the outcome is going to be that we're going to learn the importance of taking proactive steps to improve our own immune system. I think what we're seeing is that this virus is catastrophic to people that have a weak immune system. So there are steps that we can take to build up our immunity. And what we see in people that have a really strong immune system is that this virus is not that big of a deal. And most people are able to develop immunity without developing any symptoms at all.
I've heard that 80% of the people probably have it right now. They've had it, they didn't even know they had it, and that number could increase. And these are the people who may have no symptoms, mild symptoms, or even maybe harsher symptoms, yet they're not dying, they're not going to the hospital, they're not even calling their doctor. They think they have the flu, which I guess COVID-19 is a kind of a flu.
Well, it's much different than the flu. I think that we have to realize that the flu doesn't do what this virus is doing. And I don't think we're at 80% people that have been exposed and have this virus. At the high mark in some of these hot spots may be as high as 15%. What I think you meant to say is that probably 6 out of 7 people, or nearly 90% of people who test positive, have absolutely no symptoms at all. That's what we know for sure.
Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. I'm wondering, though, should we have started things like stay at home, the safe distancing? Should we have started that earlier? We knew about COVID-19, coronavirus, I guess back in November, December of 2019. We're almost halfway through the year.
Yeah, there was some misinformation early on from China, and we didn't really have the full understanding. And it's hard to shut down the world, and you have to be really sure that there's this threat. And it really wasn't until later on where we knew that it was potentially a pandemic. And I think after that we can second guess and play Monday morning quarterback. We can also look at what has happened in some countries that didn't lock down and others that did, and we can have some debates about that. But what's really critical to understand is that this is a virus that seems to be targeting people that have a weak immune system. So maybe we just segregate those people and be really careful around them, but the rest of us should be able to go on and function in our lives and in society. I think that's probably how this is all gonna play out.
I think that my only concern is that I think that I have a strong immune system. I take a lot of supplements, and we're going to get into that right now. Try to exercise. It's a little bit difficult right now. I'm not getting enough sleep, so that's another check mark on not so good for Mark. But those of us who are over, say, 50, who are in that area of compromised immune systems, I'm not old. I'm not going to take this. I refuse to. What do you think we should do? Let's start with those who are
Yeah,
55, 60 plus.
yeah, let me give an overview of what I think are some important concepts. The first is something I call the infection equation. And this equation kind of calculates the interaction of our immune system with the infecting organism. If we have a weak immune system and we have a highly infectious virus, like this virus is, we can have very severe disease. On the flip side, if we have a strong immune system and we are exposed to this virus or a highly infectious virus, we can have less severe or perhaps no symptoms. So that's exactly what we see. So the next question is, well, how do we have a strong immune system? Well, our immune system is a reflection of our overall good health. So the four cornerstones of good health are critical to pay attention to at all times, but especially these times. Our attitude plays a huge role. Our dominant emotional and mental state has been shown to correlate directly with immune function. When we're up and positive, our immune system is up and works properly. If we're depressed, stressed, or anxious, or not getting enough sleep, as you said, then we are likely to have a lower immune function. Health promoting lifestyle is critical, getting enough sleep, avoiding harmful health habits, excess alcohol and smoking, really detrimental to the immune system. A diet is really important. Health promoting diet, rich in plant foods, rich in colorful fruits and vegetables, rich in all known nutrients. Our immune system is just that. It's a system, and it requires many interrelated parts, and we get these parts from the foods that we eat or through the supplements that we take. And the last cornerstone is supplementary measures. What can I take to improve my immune system so I become better able to prevent this virus from infecting me? And if I am infected, how can I make my immune system respond in such a way so it doesn't do me harm and focuses all of its attention on getting rid of this virus?
Dr. Mike, let's take a look at you at this point. You have a different perspective, I believe, than traditional medical doctors. You're an ND rather than an MD. Can you explain the difference to us?
Yeah, medical doctors are trained to use drugs in surgery, and naturopathic physicians are trained to employ the healing power within through using diet, lifestyle modification, various psychological therapies, the proper use of dietary supplements, herbal medicines, and other natural approaches. And as it relates to immune function, I mean, I've been flabbergasted watching some of these so-called experts when reporters have asked them, well, how do you strengthen the immune system? These are supposedly some of the world's leading experts on immunology, and they say, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't think there is a way to do that. Well, there is. There's a lot that we can do, and that's what this virus is teaching us. Is there are steps and there are important supplements and there are important dietary strategies to help boost immunity, and that's what we really need to get the word out on, Mark.
And this is science-based. This isn't something that somebody sat down and said, right? I mean,
it's completely science-based. We're evolving in our knowledge of the immune system and of nutrition. We're learning a great deal about how important diet, lifestyle, attitude, and nutritional supplements can be in supporting our immune system. In the case of COVID-19, there are some nutrient superstars that everybody should be taking to bolster their immune system, and hopefully we'll get into that.
Well, let's do that, because I don't want to get it, okay? Or I want to fight it. I'm being serious. I'm a big baby. Yeah. I admit it.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Right? Now, we're guys. It's just a fact. We're just big boys, right?
Yeah. Well, I think I told you this when we were talking last week. Is I went 22 years without catching a cold, and I've been under a lot of stress in my adult life. I've had kids and been exposed to who knows what, and yet I've had a very strong immune system, and I've taken a lot of supplements as well as tried to do everything else to bolster my immune system. I think there are 7 key nutrients right now as it relates to our immune function and protection against this virus. Vitamin A, beta carotene and other carotenoids, vitamin D, vitamin C, B vitamins, zinc, and selenium. I want to talk first about vitamin D because even the former head of the CDC went on the media at the very beginning of this pandemic and said, hey, vitamin D seems like it's a good idea. High quality evidence from 25 double-blind placebo-controlled studies reveal that vitamin D supplementation can reduce the risk of viral infections, particularly upper respiratory tract infections. As it relates to this disease, there's been some really interesting research. Grassroots Health is sponsored some of this research, and very interesting data looked at vitamin D levels and the severity of COVID-19. And basically, when people have low levels of vitamin D, their risk of developing severe COVID-19 infections increases dramatically. On the flip side, when vitamin D levels are sufficient or optimal, then we don't see those severe symptoms, and most people that have mild symptoms have a pretty good vitamin D level. So there's a strong correlation between the level of vitamin D and our ability to fight this particular virus. So very important for people to know their vitamin D level. Now, I'm on the scientific board of a group called Organic and Natural, and they're sponsoring a site called nutrientpower.org. And people can go there and order a test to measure their vitamin D levels. And the site also provides a calculator that the person can then calculate their dosage of vitamin D. Most experts these days are recommending somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3. Has to be that D3 form per day. So, Mark, that's something I would definitely recommend to you right now. 5,000 IUs of vitamin D.
And I am taking 5,000 IUs because our mutual friend, Karen Howard, the executive director of Organics and Natural Health, will yell at me if I don't.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We don't want that at all.
No.
We don't want that at all. No, it's really, we actually covered that several times, and we know that most Americans don't have the proper vitamin D levels. It's an epidemic in itself of low vitamin D levels.
Yeah,
right.
Very well said. I also think vitamin A is really important too, and vitamin A can exist in an active form and kind of in a precursor form. The precursor form is beta carotene. Vitamin A is most active in that retinol form. This form has been shown in huge studies to be very effective in reducing the risks of mortality and morbidity from a wide range of viruses. The concern with vitamin A is that it can be teratogen. It can cause birth defects. So it's very important that women don't take more than 5,000 IUs of vitamin A, but that's a good dose for protection against viral infection. And men can take twice that amount, 10,000 IUs. That's a safe dose for men. But I think this is a very important recommendation right now, just during this pandemic, during this increased risk.
But can't we get beta carotene in our food supply? I think carrots have a high supply of beta carotene.
Yeah, and that's good for our immune system. Carotene's, one of my favorite studies was a study that was done in the 30s, and it showed that kids that had higher carotene levels because they ate more richly colored vegetables. It's not just carrots, but green leafy vegetables and dark colored vegetables are high in carotenes.
As long as it's not broccoli, I can handle it.
Well, broccoli's a great food, but if you don't like it, there's other choices. These keratins play a huge role in the function of our thymus gland. This is our main organ of immune system, very important in cell-mediated immunity. This is critical for fighting viruses because cell-mediated immunity attacks viruses that are living inside of our cells. So very, very important to have keratins, but keratins don't have some of the direct antiviral activity that vitamin A does. So during this time, I think that we need to supplement with the active form of vitamin A, the retinol form. And as I said, a large body of science shows that it's protective against a wide range of viruses, everything from those that can cause diarrhea to measles to respiratory viruses. So it makes sense to take, as I said, 10,000 IUs for men each day and 5,000 IUs for women.
What about women who are beyond having children? Can they take a higher dose?
They can. Generally, women are smaller, so 5,000 IUs would probably still be enough. But if they start showing any sort of symptoms, then I would recommend as soon as possible jumping up to that higher dose. And Mark, we're kind of looking at some individual parts here, but as I said earlier, our immune system, it is a system composed of many different parts, kind of like our car. And just as the car won't run if it's out of gas or the battery doesn't work or the tires are flat or you don't have the key, our immune system is dependent upon virtually all essential nutrients. So we're just talking about some of the most important. The other two that I think are really key essential nutrients during this time are zinc and selenium. Zinc is kind of the master gatekeeper of our immune system. I mentioned the thymus gland. The zinc works with the thymus gland in helping to control immune function, and low levels of zinc are very common, and we know that zinc supplementation can boost immunity. For prevention, I would recommend for men somewhere between 30 and 45 milligrams per day of zinc. For women, a lower dose, 20 to 30 milligrams. Those are very safe levels. And interestingly enough, one of the initial symptoms in COVID-19 is the loss of the sense of taste and smell. And this is what we classically see in a zinc deficient individual. Zinc is absolutely critical for those senses to work properly. So it may be that the immune system is acting like a sponge and grabbing all the available zinc, and that's why these people have a loss of taste or smell.
I know for a fact that if I take zinc on a regular basis, and this is me, and I think, and my wife as well, my wife even more so than I, we lose our taste of smell or taste change.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that because we're taking too much? Or is that just because we're weird?
It could be the form that you're taking. Zinc, if you're taking in a chewable tablet, for example, mm-hmm. It does interfere with taste and give you a kind of a metallic taste. It can make things taste differently, for sure.
Right. So maybe a
capsule tablet.
A capsule.
Yeah.
Got it. Is a better form.
Well, we like zinc chewable tablets during a cold or flu because the zinc has some direct antiviral activity, and it's really important in protection against this particular virus. Some of the drugs, like there's been a focus on hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine. What chloroquine does is it acts as called a zinc ionophore. That basically means it opens our cells and allows zinc to enter in that cell in an ionic form. And in an ionic form, zinc blocks the enzyme replicase. And this is the enzyme that the virus uses to replicate and reproduce itself. So zinc is the natural antiviral compound, and some of these drugs may be working by helping zinc do its job better.
And we should point out again that medical doctors don't often know about supplements or zinc. They don't have the training or the knowledge. And I've been to many doctors, and I'll show them a supplement. I don't have one handy.
Yeah.
It's just right there. But I'll show them something, and they'll say, "Oh, that doesn't work. You don't need it. It's ridiculous." And yet I feel better, and we're going back to attitude, if I do take supplements on a regular basis. We're going to take time out here. This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. Our guest is Dr. Mike Murray. You can find out more about Dr. Murray at drmurray.com. The website is up on our screen right now. I'm Mark Alyn. You can find out more about us at latenighthealth.com. Let's continue with our look at some other supplements. We've talked about zinc, A, and D. What about selenium?
Yeah, before we get that, I want to comment on something that you said. Doctors are trained to be skeptical, and they're also trained to believe that they know everything. And so what happens is if they're not up on something, they're down on it. And the truth of the matter is there's a whole science of nutrition and immune function. And we have a great deal of science on all these essential nutrients. They're called essential nutrients because they're critical for our body to function properly. And there's no question that these essential nutrients are critical to immune function. We also know that deficiency of these nutrients, even in the United States, is a rampant problem. And we've touched on nutrients that we know are deficient in many people: zinc, vitamin A, vitamin D. And the last one I'll talk on as far as an essential nutrient is selenium. And selenium, like zinc, is showing some specific actions against this particular virus. And selenium is a trace mineral that is critically involved in, I mentioned it earlier, cell-mediated immunity. So it helps our immune system kill viruses. And selenium supplementation to individuals that have normal blood levels of selenium has been shown to help double the ability of white blood cells to kill infecting organisms and tumor cells. So selenium is really a critical nutrient at this time. We want to make sure that we have sufficient levels, and then even taking a little bit more seems to have this additional benefit to immune function. A good dosage of selenium is 200 micrograms per day. I like the yeast-based selenium supplements. These natural forms seem to outperform other mineral forms of selenium, like selenium selenite or selenomethionines. So yeast-based selenium sources are your best bet.
And can you get selenium as a standalone supplement, or do you find it in a multivitamin?
It should be enough in a multiple vitamin and mineral formula. Generally, the supplement range is 70 to 400 micrograms, but we do have that the research showing that even in people who have normal levels, that 200 micrograms is very effective in boosting the immune system. I do have one other nutrient that I want to talk about,
Sure.
Mark. It's not technically an essential nutrient, but it's critical, I think, in against this particular infection, and it's called N-acetylcysteine. And this is a form of an amino acid, cysteine, that is a direct precursor to glutathione. And glutathione is our natural compound that protects cells from being damaged. It can reduce inflammation, and it also has an ability to act as a mucolytic. And what I mean by that is that I really think that one of the things that's happening in these people that have a higher risk of developing COVID-19 is they have issues with their mucus, the respiratory tract lining. And N-acetylcysteine has been used in conventional medicine for decades, and over 40 double-blind studies have shown it to be very effective in improving the viscosity, the thickness, and the elasticity of our mucus. That's our first line of defense against this virus. And one of the reasons why we may see it really hitting some of these people with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and chronic respiratory issues, as well as high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, and other conditions, is that their glutathione levels are low, or their mucus lining is just not doing its job. So N-acetylcysteine is very important. 600 milligrams is a good daily dose for general health. If you have chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or emphysema or chronic bronchitis or chronic asthma, if your lungs and respiratory tract are susceptible, then you need to take 1,200 milligrams. That could be a difference between life and death.
Wow. And we'll have the name of that. We have the name of that supplement up because that's the hardest one to spell so far. And
yeah, it's the abbreviation is NAC, and it stands for N-acetylcysteine. And yes, I've provided some slides, and you can show those and help people see that word. It's not that intimidating.
So they can get it. I have to point out that Dr. Mike lives in Phoenix, Arizona, which is the golf capital of the world. There's a golf course next to every 7-Eleven there. It's just, you've got a picture of one. Is that a window, or I can't tell if that's a window or a picture?
It's my wall. Yeah,
it's your wall. So it's a picture of one. So you're not playing golf right now because we're social distancing. Is exercise also a component in boosting your immune system?
It absolutely is. And, exercise and our immune function is a little bit of a double-edged sword. If we have high nutritional status and we're really supporting our health and we exercise, then it boosts our immune system. But in people that are lacking some of these key nutrients, exercise is stress, and it can actually weaken our immune system and make us more susceptible. So keep that in mind out there.
Dr. Mike, this has been fascinating. First of all, will you come back sometime?
Anytime, Mark. I like talking to you.
Hey, good. I'm glad to hear that. And next time we won't have the COVID beard, I'm hoping.
Well, it helps if you don't have it for the mask.
It makes it extra itchy under that mask. I have to tell you, it really does. I just got lazy, and so this is about. Have you had a beard?
Yeah, well, you just made me shave it off.
I did.
It was just for a few days, and it was looking a little scraggly. So I didn't.
You know what? I just thought of one last thing: stress reduction. Okay.
Yes.
You mentioned having kids. How many do you have?
I have 3.
3 kids.
They're older now, so they're not incubators of.
They're when they were young kids, did you notice that if they got a cold or something, dads always got sicker than moms? I don't know why that was, but.
Yeah, it didn't happen in my case because in the last. My oldest daughter's 26. In the last 26 years, I went 22 years without having a cold, and I had 2 colds, and they were separated about 6 months, and that was over 2.5 years ago. So I'm starting a new stretch.
Got it. Well, that's good. Wait till you have grandkids, then you get it. You get to start it all over again.
Yeah.
But with stress reduction, okay, exercise certainly helps. 1, are there any supplements to help reduce stress? And 2, what about things like meditation? Will that help regarding COVID-19? I mean, we started this out by saying if you had a great attitude,
right,
you're healthier.
Right. Yeah, meditation, prayer, breathing exercises, they produce what's called the relaxation response. And our autonomic nervous system, which controls our unconscious nervous system, has 2 arms. The stress response, the fight or flight response, controlled by our sympathetic nervous system, and the relaxation response, controlled by our parasympathetic nervous system. Our immune system functions highest when we are under that parasympathetic dominance. That happens when we're at the deepest levels of sleep. It also happens when we are meditating and praying and breathing with our diaphragm. So, we're all faced with stress. So you have to take time to condition yourself against stress. Meditation is a big part of that.
Terrific. All right, good deal. Again, if you want information on Dr. Murray, go to drmurray.com. He's written a number of books. He's got all kinds of information on his website. That's great. You can visit us at latenighthealth.com, and we will have Dr. Murray back soon because he's an all-around good guy. We enjoyed talking to him. Dr. Mike, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. This is Late Night Health. We'll be back very soon.